So now we're going to do the volume of objects made from pyramids. So the volume of a cube, let's look at that. Right, if that's 8, then that's 8 inches, and that's 8 inches. So it's 8 times 8 is 64, and 64 times 8, 4 times 8 is 32, 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51, 512 cubic inches for the cube. For the rectangular prism, it's, right, you're going to do 20 times 8 times 12. 8, it doesn't matter. 20 times 8, I was trying to think of what's the easiest way. 2 times 8 is 16, so that's 160 times 12. 2 times 0, 2 times 6 is 12. And then we get a 3 there. Then we multiply 160 by 1, and we add up the 2 rows. And I'm getting 1,920 cubic inches for this. Now, how do you draw? This is a square pyramid. So now, interestingly, the bottom of this is supposed to look like, if you looked from the sky, it's supposed to be a square, but it doesn't look like a square art on paper, and that's because of the weird way 3D works. But we're going to draw a rectangular shape for the bottom, and then you're going to pick a point and connect, right? You're going to pick a point, and you have choice here where you connect all these corners at the bottom. Now, where you pick is important, because this line and this line, when you do this, you see are easy to overlap. They can end up right on top of each other. And if they end, let me just clear this up. This dashed line right there and this solid one, often when you draw a pyramid on a 3D pyramid on a 2D piece of paper, those can mess you up. So I would pick something, be very careful of where you pick. All right, so I'm going to pick that, and then notice these are the first 2 lines I draw, because as long as those work out, it'll look reasonable. All right, now mine's a little tilted to the side. It's not the greatest. Okay, but the problem is, all right, it probably should have been a little bit over here. But when you do that, look how close those 2 lines are. Yeah, so you got to be very careful of that. So there's our pyramid. There, I drew a little better. All right, so all the sides of a pyramid are triangles, and they meet at the top. So this is the pyramid, right? What was this other thing called? This was the triangular prism, right? Triangular prisms are half the size of rectangular prisms, okay? This base can be a square, it can be a rectangle, it can be lots of different shapes. But the classic pyramid has a square at the bottom and 4 equal sides. Right, it turns out that a pyramid is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. All right, so let's see this. So the first thing you want to do, all right, so we're going to write volume equals 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So the area of this shape on the bottom, it says it's a square pyramid. So if that's a square, that means even though it doesn't look that way, this is 3 by 3. So the area of the base is 9 square feet. And then what's the height? And the height is defined just like it was for a triangle. It's straight up to the top. So that's 4 feet. So the 3 cancels with the 9 and becomes a 3. And we get 12. Oh, this height was feet. Square feet times feet, now you have cubic feet again. The volume of that is 12 cubic feet. Now, let's see this. So this is a rectangular prism. It's still the same thing, 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So it's 1/3. The area of the base is 4 times 9, 36 square inches. The height is 8 inches. 3 cancels with 36. 36 becomes 12. 12 times 8 is 96 cubic inches. Okay, so we're going to find the volume of all 3 of these. Now, the volume of pyramid is 1/3, right, times the area of the base times the height. If you have to find the volume of 3 of them, it would be 3 times 1/3 times the area of the base times the height, right? Those would just cancel. So it ends up being the area of the base times the height. for all three? Well, the area of the base, it says they're square pyramids, so it's 7 times 7, 49, and then 49 times 8. 8 times 9 is 72, 8 times 4 is 32, plus 7 is 392 cubic inches. Those little marks are inches. So the whole thing is 392 cubic inches. What's the volume of this one rectangular prism? Well, right, the length times the width gives you the area of the base times the height. The volume of that rectangular prism is 7 times 7, 49 times 8. It's the same answer. Now, it doesn't really look it, but three of those, all three of those fit in there. Yeah. A pyramid is 1/3, right? Now, for this to be true, they have to have the exact same height and the exact same base. But if they have the exact same height and exact same base, three of those will fit. Now, you're not going to be able to fit three of them as they are. You would have to, say, fill each of the pyramids with sand and then dump that sand into the rectangular prism at the bottom. And exactly the same amount of sand fits this one rectangular prism as fits in those three square pyramids. So we're going to find the area in that cube not occupied by the pyramid. So let's do the cube first. So what is the size of the cube? So the cube, picked a bad color. So what is the cube? The cube is 10 times 10 times 10, 1,000 cubic centimeters. Now, the pyramid is 1/3 of that, right? What does that mean? If 1/3 is occupied by the cube, what fraction of the volume, if 1/3 is occupied by the prism, what fraction occupies the rest of the cube? 2/3. Hopefully you're saying, oh, so we could just take 2/3 of that. So 3 doesn't nicely go into 1,000, but 2 times 1,000 is 2,000. So let's do 2,000 divided by 3. Notice I said approximately up there, I believe. Yeah, I did. 3 goes into 20 6 times. Remainder 2. Bring down a 0. 3 into 20 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Remainder 2. Bring down a 0. 3 into 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Decimal straight up, 0 straight down, and we're going to get 6s forever there. So the area of not occupied by the pyramid is 666 approximately. Always, I should round it to 667, I guess, cubic centimeters. The pyramid would be the pyramid, right, would have been 1/3 the area of the base times the height. 1/3, the area of the base is 100 times another 10, right? This, let's say that's approximately 33. Well, it's exactly 33.3 repeating times 10. The pyramid is approximately 333 cubic centimeters. If you add those two up, you get the 1,000 cubic centimeters of the cube. It's an optical illusion because the pyramid looks bigger than it really is. There's a lot of empty space because those pyramid sides are tilting in. All right, so we're going to find the volume of this whole thing. Hopefully you see a rectangular prism at the bottom and a pyramid at the top. And we're going to add them together. So the rectangular prism is 16 times 4 times 10, right? 16 times 4, we've done a bunch, is 64. And 64 times 10 is 640. So the rectangular prism is 640 cubic centimeters. The top, we have to find the area of the base, right? 1/3. And don't forget the 1/3. Just like when we're doing triangles, forgetting the 1/2 is the most common mistake. Forgetting the 1/3 is the most common mistake here. 1/3 the area of the base times the height. So it's 1/3 the area of the base. Now this is 16 times 4 times the height, which is 12. All right, I'm looking for something to cancel with this 3, and I'm going to use the 12 from the height. So that goes in 4. And we get 16, 4 times 4 is 16, so this is 16 times 16. 6 times 6 is 36, 96, step over, 1 times 16, so 256 cubic centimeters for the pyramid, and then you add the two up, right? The 640, don't forget this part, you have to find the total, plus the 640 cubic centimeters for the rectangular prism on the bottom, right down here, 256 cubic centimeters for the pyramid on the top, and so the whole thing is 896 cubic centimeters. All right, so I've intentionally put the pyramid upside down. Can we still do it? It's the same, it doesn't change it, right? The volume is 1/3 the area of the base, right, times the height. We did this with triangles, right? We turned them. All right, so what's the base? It says square pyramid, so it says it's 10 by 10. So the area of the base is 100 square centimeters. 1/3 the height, it's upside down, which is 12 centimeters. We can cancel the 3 with that and make 4. It's 400 cubic centimeters. Find the volume of the rectangular prism not occupied by the rectangular pyramid. So the other part, okay? So it's not the pyramid, which is 1/3. It's the other part. It's 2/3. So let's do that. So there's a bunch of ways to do it, but let's just do the prism, a rectangular prism, is, right, 10 times 3 times 8. 30 times 8 is 240 cubic inches. Now, the pyramid is 1/3 of the space inside there. The space not occupied by the rectangular prism is 2/3 of that, right? So it's 2/3 times that, which looks like it might be hard, but 3 goes into 24 very nicely, 8. So that's 80. 2 times 80, 160 cubic centimeters. Now, if you want to, you could do the volume. The longer way to do it is 1/3 area of the base, 10 times 30 times 10 times 3, 30, times the height. These cancel. And the pyramid, right, 80 cubic centimeters is the pyramid. And then you could subtract that from the 240. And you're going to get the same 160 after you borrow. Right, so 3 of them would be 3 times 1/3 area of the base times the height. So it's 3 times 1/3. The area of the base is 8 times 2, 16. These cancel. The height is 10. It's 160 cubic centimeters. Good luck on the homework.